Speaker, and my question is to the Acting Premier. Yesterday, I asked the Premier about our refugee crisis and federal funding. The Premier passed me off to the member from Nepean, who did a lot of yelling and posturing about who's more Canadian, and gave me a list of racialized MPPs in the PC caucus. But yesterday's hooting and hollering does nothing to solve this crisis, and this government's lack of clarity is making things worse. Because of the lack of clarity, the House of Commons Standing Committee on Citizenship and Immigration had to hold an emergency meeting on Parliament Hill yesterday. Conflating issues and collapsing ministries has been a running theme of this government, and we're only in week 1. So I'd like to ask the Premier again, why on earth would this government walk away from $11 million to help our cities? Is it because you haven't yet figured out how to redirect it into the pockets of your corporate friends?
Response? The Deputy Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Community and Social Services.
For Children, Community and Social Services.
Thanks very much for the question to my colleague from Oshawa. She asked me why I would walk away for $11 million. Clearly, math is not the strong suit in the official opposition. The price tag is $175 million and growing. And I'm going to tell you something. My ministry is quite large. We look after children in care. We look after children who have autism. We look after children with developmental disabilities. We look after the welfare system. We look after ODSP. We look at women who are escaping domestic violence, and we look after women who are being trafficked. So I ask you this, and I hope you have a response for me. Where do you want to take the money from? Those vulnerable people, or from the federal government who created a mess at the border and owes this province $175 million?
Members will please take their seats. Members take their seats. Please take your seats. Supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. Again to the Acting Premier. Yesterday during question period, the member from Nepean hollered, "We're going to continue to welcome people to Ontario and we're going to continue to support them." But at the same time, this government is neither welcoming nor supportive of asylum seekers in Ontario. And during the PC electoral campaign, a statement was issued that read, quote, "While funding for refugees is primarily a federal issue, Doug Ford will sit down with Mayor Tory to ensure the city has the funding it needs," end quote. Primarily a federal issue means mostly, but, and I'll explain to the team, it is also a provincial responsibility, both morally and legally. The people of Ontario and our municipalities are looking to the provincial government to do the right thing and help people who are seeking refuge. While you waste precious time going back and forth about which level of government should shoulder the expense, refugees and asylum seekers are suffering. Premier, I hope that the Premier will do the right thing. Will they provide the much-needed housing to these families before the August 9th eviction date?
Minister.
Immigration and refugee policy is under the purview of the federal government. No one disputes that. The issue that we have today is we have $75 million in housing costs for the City of Toronto. We have an additional $11 million cost for the City of Ottawa, where I live. We have a $90 million and growing social assistance cost as a result of this. You're telling me to take 6 cents on the dollar when I should be fighting for the people of this province.
Okay, I'm going to once again ask the members and remind the members you have to speak through the chair and talk of other members in the third person. The Minister.
Speaker, I should speak. The member opposite is telling me that I should accept 6 cents on the dollar. I can't afford that. This province can't afford that. And the people that I'm responsible for, that I stay awake at night worrying about, can't afford it. So she can either stand with me or against me in my fight with Ottawa to get fair compensation for this province.